Today is May 26, 2024. My name is Charles Suter, and today I'm presenting part one of my series, Worry-Free Living. I actually have a reference book for you. Worry-Free Living by Frank Menerith, Paul Meyer, and Don Hawkins. Now, my main message and purpose is to teach you how to worry without getting upset. If you worry often and suffer from frequent bouts of anxiety, the problem may not be external, but could likely be caused by false or irrational beliefs. Once you find the source of your emotional or erroneous beliefs, you can diffuse with them and potentially program new, healthier beliefs to replace them. Now, only threats worth worrying about are those that can physically impact your life, well-being, and values. But in the modern world, there are too few of these physical threats that can harm your life, limb, or property. Most threats are psychological. Threats to your self-concept, identity, status, and self-esteem, well, most of them are imaginary and depend upon irrational beliefs to keep them going. If your beliefs are rational and positive, you will not be perturbed by psychological threats, but motivated to respond to them either proactively or to prevent them. Proposition 1. Anxiety comes from present and future threats to a person's status quo. A person always strives to maintain his status quo or equilibrium. Anything that upsets that could be considered a threat. However, threats can be real or imagined, and most threats in modern society, as we are now living, are imagined and irrational. Anxiety has no value unless the threat is real, and then it's real and it motivates you to take action as it should. Now, interestingly, people who are ambitious, who spend a lot of time living outside their comfort zone, tend to suffer the most anxiety. And perhaps that is a real threat because they're dealing with things they haven't dealt with before. You should never be worried about anything that's happened in the past. What is done cannot be reversed. Either you have forgiven yourself or outside perpetrators and forgotten about it, or you're irrationally carrying on emotional baggage for no useful purpose. Worrying about things that you cannot change has no value. If your worry is focused on future events and they're probabilistically real, well, then take action and prepare now for them to find ways to avoid them. Again, if you're a type A personality, highly ambitious, you will naturally find yourself outside your comfort zone often, doing very ambitious gammas to get ahead. Emotional discomfort is natural whenever you're outside your comfort zone, but so long as you're competent and confident in your abilities, your anxiety is serving a useful purpose, which is a warning to act prudently and carefully until you master your new domain and bring new situations into your circle of comfort. Proposition 2. The wrong way to handle anxiety is with passive defense mechanisms. So do not deny, repress, or attempt to escape your source of anxiety because they will ultimately lead to addictions of all types. Confirm the threat is real, and that if it is real, confront reality with action or prevention. Stop irrational thoughts causing anxiety by challenging and reversing them. This is what you do if the threat is imaginary, and the only way to find out is to check the evidence. Focusing on living each day as best you can, taking care of what must be done that day to survive and thrive. The more you do each day, the less you have to take care of the next day. If you respond to anxiety in a passive way, you're only prolonging the inevitable and possibly making matters worse. And this is true whether the threat is real or imaginary. If the threat is real, you need to take proactive action, and if the threat is imaginary, you need to find and replace the irrational beliefs that's causing it. People trying to escape their problems rather than focusing and facing them head on are a leading cause of addictions of all kinds. Since most sources of anxiety in modern society are irrational, one way to confront your worries is to determine if they're real and rationally something to worry about. Most worries and sources of anxiety are imaginary, as I've already said, and exist only because of irrational beliefs. Once you remove the irrationality from your thoughts, well, then you remove the feelings of anxiety. All provocative thoughts associated with potential threats causing your anxiety must be challenged by asking for the evidence, and then evaluate as to whether the threat is based on truth or just a figment of your conditioned belief, possibly lingering from your adolescent past. Proposition 3. Proactively deal with both threats and the feelings of anxiety. If the threat is real, take appropriate action, or if it's not real, then find the irrational beliefs causing it and change them. If a threat is fictional, first of all, you want to diffuse, disassociate, disconnect from your causal thoughts. Deal with your inflamed emotions first by challenging them, and then deal with reality if that becomes necessary. The time to take action from a threat is when the threat is real and action is needed. Unless you're physically threatened, never heed your negative emotions, as they will probably lead you in the wrong direction. But if you are dealing with a real physical threat in your real world, then take immediate proactive physical actions. However, if you're dealing with psychological threats, then respond mindfully with your higher conscious awareness, knowing your inflamed emotions are due simply to erroneous, irrational beliefs. So deal with your emotions first, if time permits, by challenging and calming them. This might take time, so remove yourself from your circumstances until you can regain control over yourself, your emotions. Then deal with the situation appropriately. It's better to delay your response until you have regained emotional control than to take immediate but wrong action that you can't retract. My main message: if you need to worry, then worry purposefully, productively, and within limits. Don't let your emotions get out of control. There are concerted actions you can take to reduce worry, stress, and anxiety to either present or forthcoming future events that are against your best interest, assuming they're real. If the threat is real and forthcoming, then prepare and take proactive actions to reduce the likelihood and severity of any perceived threat. If the threat's only imaginary or irrational, then deal with your negative emotions first. Challenge and change the irrational beliefs that are fundamental to these inflamed emotions. Since most situations causing emotional distress are only psychologically threatening due to your irrational beliefs, deal with your emotions first and get emotional relief. Then you can rationally determine the best way to handle the outer world problems that are not to your liking. That is, if the threat is real but not immediate. Well, that's all for now. Remember to stay positive. You'll be happier, healthier, and live longer.